I've been saving my moon jar project for a rainy day. I want to make my moon jar in one piece. The challenge: how far can I push the rounded form before it collapses? I'm using 2.5 kilos of clay. I'm using a robust throwing body with enough strength to hold its shape. And I think I have the right consistency. It feels soft enough to center, but firm enough to support itself. I start by centering the clay. And once centered, I flatten the clay so the clay is a little wider than the final diameter of the base. I push down into the clay, leaving a bit over a centimetre, and then I open out the base and slowly compress as I open out with a bit of a scooping motion. And I remove any excess water with a sponge. Then I form the walls. I'm going to throw a tall cylinder 30 centimetres in height. So I pull the walls upwards, pushing with my fingers from the inside and squeezing the clay back in with my knuckle. The walls need to be even, and I want them slightly thicker at the bottom than they are at the rim. And on the final pull, I get the extra height I need for my moon jar. It might look a little tall, but I'm going to lose height as I start to shape. Now I have the height, I can begin to shape. And I start by gently pushing out the middle section. This is known as bellying out. I do this slowly and evenly. And I don't try and do this in one pass. I'm using my fingers on the inside of the vessel to push outwards, and I'm using a rib on the outside to control the shape. You can see at this stage how much height is lost when shaping. I'm using very little water here. I don't want to oversaturate and weaken the clay. As I expand the midsection outwards, the jar starts to become a moon jar. Once I've got the roundness I'm after, I focus a little on the shoulder and neck. The shoulder of the jar at this stage is prone to collapsing, so I don't want to overwork. When I'm shaping the pot from the inside, I wet my arm so that the clay won't catch on my dry skin. And now for the final shaping, I'm rounding out the base. And like the shoulder, I don't want to overwork the clay at this point. I notice that the neck looks a little long, so I take a pin tool and trim it down. I round the rim with a sponge. And I set aside my jar. Once my jar's leather hard, I set on the wheel to trim. I centre and then I fasten with lugs of clay. I start by trimming around the foot. I want the foot to be a little smaller than the opening at the top. I think this will enhance the roundness of the form. And then I trim a little to marry the foot with the shape of the jar. Eventually I'd love to scale this up into a much larger moon jar and really push the limits of throwing in a single piece. So be sure to subscribe to our channel. I tap on the base of the pot with my trimming tool to gauge the thickness. I mark out the inner edge of the foot ring. And now I trim the foot ring. I use my simple trimming method. I trim concentric circles into the base. And then I'll trim away the ridges of clay left. It's a fairly modest moon jar, but it's a start. And for today, I'm pretty happy how this one ended up. Why not check out my moon jar in 2-part video for more moon jar goodness? And as always, happy potting!